Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know
what it is like when your perfectionism is a constant god-awful companion.
But it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired.
Today, I am giving you a holiday gift for this joyful season. We're talking about when you are controlling everything and still not in charge. This is a really great episode if you are a parent, what this looks like with children too. I invite you to give this episode your utmost presence and enjoy. Today's episode, making the upgrade from control to power. What, you thought they were the same thing? You're going to know exactly the difference between what control is and what power is after you listen to this episode, and you are going to be able to know with absolute certainty where it is that you fall along the control versus power spectrum. And you're going to know exactly how you can drop the control and the choice that you get to make if you want to actually feel like you're in charge. It's like the difference between a dinghy and a yacht, control versus power, because it can be so unnerving when you're like, I just need to start controlling more things and then I'll start feeling like I'm in charge. And then the more you start controlling, the less powerful you feel. We're just going to get right into it in this episode. When you are controlling, what you're thinking below the surface is like, I can't trust that my needs will be met. So I will control everything in my vortex. And this is a really smart habit until it's not. Needs being met, we're talking about safety, like feeling safe. I'm not talking about whether or not you had water or food or shelter, even if that is part of your lived human experience. Because what we tend to do is we tend to be punitive and diminish the way that we feel, or like argue with it and be like, yeah, I didn't feel safe, but why didn't I feel safe? Because all of my needs were met. There's no reason why I shouldn't feel safe. If that is at all is happening with you, it's safety. It's a felt sense of safety. Okay. And your inner experience is always correct and valid. Woof, you get so much energy back with that. And when you can't trust that your needs will be met, what are you going to do? You're going to control everything in your vortex. Even things that you're like, I know I can't control what this person's thinking, but I'm still going to do all of this stuff. So that way they can't have any possible reason to think negatively of me. And this is a very smart habit until it's not. When safety comes from an outside source, this is the kicker for you right here, you'll never truly feel safe. Ask me how I know. Here's how you know. If you have everything on paper you thought you wanted, you have everything that, could and should bring you safety, but underneath your smile, even in those moments where you're like, I should be enjoying this, I should be happy, you feel uneasy. And you can't put your finger on why, but you just have like this low-key anxiety, discontent, just not fully like being present, running all of the time. It's just sort of like this nagging feeling almost of like, you're not fully enjoying this. You just know that like something is missing. And yet, my perfectionist, you criticize yourself for feeling that way because you should feel grateful for all that you have. You have a thriving career. You have all these people who love you. You are earning a fabulous living for yourself. But you're tired AF. You're exhausted. And you give your all to your family, to your clients, to your colleagues, to your community. But when it comes to YOU, you only get the crumbs that are left. and you're tired of it. And maybe you're even a little bit resentful of it. This episode is to guide you out of the panic and the pressure and the crappy control tactics into a lived experience of felt safety, power, and presence in all areas of your life. So when we're afraid, we get controlling. And by afraid, what it really means is like, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to control it. I would never label it like, I'm afraid, I'm in terror. More about, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to control. Like, I don't want to be late for work, so I'm going to control when my kid wants to go to the bathroom when we're leaving the house. It's a baby, but we still do as much as we can to like control that situation. And controlling for us as perfectionists, it feels like the responsible thing to do. Often what perfectionists, like what we call our desire for growth and success, is actually like a visceral fear that we're not measuring up to socially sanctioned and self-imposed expectations of good enoughness. Like if you're late to school, then you're a bad mom, or some lie that somehow your brain is believing is truth, or because all the other moms around you say that. And it's like, I don't know any perfectionist that wants to be a lemming, okay? What happens is we are feeling so out of control and awful inside, we'll do anything to hustle to the next goalpost and taste the relief of, see, look what I achieved. I'm good enough now. If you're feeling out of control and maybe awful and like doubting your own parenting skills, you will do anything to hustle. And that next goalpost, maybe it's not even a goal for you, but it's just like getting to daycare on time. Or I know for me, it was like, for a long time, I was like, I'm the worst parent because I'm always the last person to pick up at daycare. And that means I don't love my kids. And now I'm just like, I'm picking my kids up from daycare. That's amazing. I don't have to pick them up. And when you think about control, control is like a cardboard cookie cutter generic version of power where you're just like fixated on generating an outcome because you attach something to that outcome. So with the example of being late, I'm attaching that if I'm late, I'm not a good mom. I'm thinking if I'm a good mom, then I will be happy. Or if my kids are happy, that means I'm a good mom, which means that then I'm allowed to feel good about myself. It's just a really empty, robotic way of going through the world of if this, then that. It's like black and white energy, and it's binary. And like binaries bind you and blind you. And not in a bad girl Riri, like S&M naughty way. It's way more of like a throw acid in your face, rusty shackles like Jamie and Outlander with Blackjack Randall. For those of you that are Outlander fans like me, you know what I'm talking about. Binaries bind you and blind you. It's the same type of thing where you're thinking like, okay, if I can get my partner to make quality time for us, if I can make sure my family doesn't fight during the holidays, then I will be happy. Or then the people I love will be happy. And if the people I love are happy, that it goes back to the thing in the beginning, then I will be safe. It all goes back to like a felt sense of safety. Here's the kicker. Even when you achieve that outcome, let's say, okay, you got to daycare on time. You did everything in the right order at the right time. You didn't have like a diaper explosion on the way there. Your work clothes still don't have spit up on them. Even if you did achieve it, nailed it. You know, I'm like good momming over here. Life happens. So it's like, okay, kids are at daycare. Now I'm on my way to work and you are having to scramble and reorganize and refocus on what generating another outcome. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. It's if this, then that. If, and it all goes down to what? A felt sense of safety, that you can feel safe in the world. It is a hamster wheel from hell. That is what control is. It's all about the outcome and like what's going to happen. And that is dependent on your felt sense of safety and how good you feel about yourself. Where power is not concerned about the outcome. It's detached from the outcome. Power is detached from the outcome. Power is about understanding that no matter what happens, like if I totally fuck up this whole podcast episode, I can still walk out the door, go downstairs to my family, and I will still be equally worthy of all the love, dignity, joy, freedom, and connection as if I did the best job ever. Even if I totally effed up this episode, and let's say just ended it here and we didn't get into the rest of it, I would still be just as worthy if on this episode, all of you that are listening decided to share it with 5 friends. And then it's trending on Twitter. And like all these people are like, oh my God, have you discovered this podcast? Have you been sleeping on this podcast? And all these articles are written about a perfectionist affirming lens and what that means. And 50 of you go to my website at CourtneyLoveGavin.com/contact and you're like, hey, this episode resonated. When can we start? How can I pay you? Even if none of that happens, power means that I still deserve the same amount of rest, the same amount of joy, and the same amount of love. And that's the same thing for you. You deserve the same amount of rest, the same amount of joy, the same amount of love. That's your birthright. Remembering that you don't earn those things, that is what makes you powerful. Anyone in the world that you think of as powerful, like I think of Beyonce, I think of Serena, Kobe, Dolly Parton, I think of RuPaul, I think of JVN, people who I'm just like, whoa, that's a powerful person right there. Being in their energy, I'm like, that is power. They are utterly illuminated. They are standing on their own solid ground. That's why like you can feel their presence. It's like, oh, they're their own mountain. Not that like I'm up here, you're down there. It's like, they're not performing at a circus on a tightrope walker. They're not doing that. Remembering that you don't earn love, you don't earn dignity, you don't earn joy, you don't earn freedom, and you don't earn connection. Those are all like, that's like standard issue. Even if you don't feel it. If that doesn't feel true, it doesn't mean that it isn't true. Like your 4-year-old is terrified of monsters under the bed. We don't argue with the 4-year-old about what monsters are. You work with them. So just work with yourself without totally being, it's not true, I'm not worthy. When you were never taught what makes you powerful, or you don't need to earn things that you already have, or you forget it, what happens is that you scramble to try and earn it, and you try to control the amount of it that you get so that you can feel safe, or that you can rest, or so that you can feel at peace. And what that looks like in real time is like, oh, I can't wait to be done with the holidays so that I can go get a massage. Because until then, what you're telling yourself is that you don't earn it. A lot of times this can also look like I'm too busy. You'll hire that great perfectionism coach whose podcast you love listening to when you get unswamped. You might even want to argue with me and be like, CLG, it's not that I don't think that I can't earn it. It's just like, I really don't have the time. You know, I'm saving up. Like, you don't understand. I have 8 kids and I live in a shoe and I have 3 jobs. And it's like, yo, you can always make it work. This is how you know you're in control versus power. Control just looks at their present surface level resources. Power is all about resourcefulness and how resourceful you are willing to be. Control looks like making a really, really exciting plan to be very happy later instead of enjoying your life right the fuck now. You can enjoy anything, okay? There's always a way to make it enjoyable. Straight up, people have made concentration camps enjoyable and life-changing experiences. There's like a whole science dedicated to it. And I think that is like one of the most awful experiences that we could probably unequivocally agree on. So it's like if someone could make a concentration camp an enjoyable experience, then it means that you can make waiting in line at the pharmacy an enjoyable experience. Control looks like making a really, really excellent plan to be happy later instead of living your life now. And power seizes the moment. Now is when happy happens. And now is when excellence in your life happens, not in the future. Control is obsessed with living in the future. Control is obsessed with the future and not in a powerful way, where power is living in the present moment. And when you are in the present moment, you get 3 distinct speed advantages, which like we love to go faster as perfectionists, okay? When you upgrade from control to power and you are living in the present moment, you have the regency of energy and engagement with whatever it is that you're doing. It's still fresh. Control makes their decisions based on safety. Power knows that safety is within them and they got it. Safety doesn't dictate their choices. They're like, I know I'll always be safe because home is a place inside of me and I love to live there. That is your home, by the way. There's like the house that you live in, but home is inside you. And as you learn to pay attention and to tune into yourself, to be like, home is inside me. I've been avoiding this home for a long time. Maybe it's more of a haunted house and there's lots of spiders and just all this creepy, spooky stuff. The more that you start to pay attention to how safe you feel, you can better discern whether the response that you are having, notice I said response, not reaction, that you are having is an accurate reflection of what is happening around you. So is it that your children aren't safe, or is it that you don't feel safe unless, do you see what I'm talking about here? We can use your sensory awareness of here and now, of living in present time, to discern if you are reacting fearfully in a situation that is actually safe. That's like one of the top takeaways when I ask my perfectionism leveraged clients. They'll say, I was about to topple over. And I'm like, you were going to fall and knock your head? And they laugh and they're like, no, that's just an expression that I use. You realize that like, oh, okay, my sensory awareness, I was reacting fearfully in a situation that is actually safe. For me, when I started giving presentations to people in the workplace, because perfectionism is a hot topic. The first time I did it at Google, I was like really nervous about it. What if they all judge me? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I flub? They totally judged me. Did I say the wrong thing? Who knows? But what I realized is I was actually like in a really safe place. There was all the security. Nothing was going to happen to me that would endanger my well-being. It was in my mind. You're able to do so much more with that when you can actually tune into the truth, what I call stepping into the truth booth. In order to overcome this barrier of, but I don't feel safe, so I feel like I need to control everything. That is a very, very common with perfectionists. So if you're feeling this way and you're like, I don't know how I could upgrade to power and present CLG. I am so controlling, like you don't even understand. So like one, I totally understand. That's why I do this work. You're talking to someone who would print out legitimate typed up agendas for her friendship dates with friends and like didn't think a thing about it. I know how to be controlling. I did that because that was the only way I could feel safe. That was the only way I could feel that like I would have all the fantastic conversations with my friends, because I didn't trust that if I just were to show up and if I just let the conversation go where it needed to go, or if we didn't cover everything, that like they wouldn't suddenly just be like, you're dead to me and like stop talking to me. Now it just seems like wild that I thought all of these things. But in the time, it felt really real, especially if I told them I was bringing an agenda and then I didn't bring it, because you know that integrity is my number one value. I was like, I'm out of integrity. And then, of course, the catastrophizing would start in and it would just be a whole shit show written and directed by CLG. And it really didn't need to be. And so in order to overcome this barrier, I have adapted multiple mindfulness strategies in order to help make this tuning into yourself, proception, and what it means to rewire your perfectionism compelling, visual, and interactive. It provides you a step-by-step process for the person, emotion, action, connections that are needed for presence, a felt sense of safety all on your own, of independent self-regulation, if we are talking clinically. Focusing on your person, which is the word that I use for the body, because body, you're still thinking about mind, body as something separate. And here it's about holism, you being connected as a person. And so when we're doing the person, emotion, action connections that are needed for you to be empowered and to be present and to live in your window of tolerance, aka your zone of resilience, the way that we do that is we do it with one person part at a time. Because noticing how your entire system is feeling all at once when you have been tuning outwards all the time, just like looking at other people, and safety was everything that was outside of you. Literally, I had zero window of tolerance when I started this. Like it was non-existent. I have a huge window of tolerance and zone of resilience now. And like I didn't have that 5 years ago. I didn't even have that 2 years ago. This work compounds, it grows. And if I can do it, you can do it too. Like guaranteed. You can do it faster than I can because I continue to distill it and make it faster. But we do this one person part at a time, because noticing how everything feels all at once, it puts too much of a demand on your system. And so it just shuts down. So this is why, for example, if you are in psychotherapy or if you are working with someone and they ask you to do a body scan, and you're like, I don't really know, or like you feel like it's not working, it's because of this. Where control is, trust is not. And that includes trust with yourself. The way that we do this is tiny and mighty moves. And so by inviting you, my one-on-one client inside of Perfectionism Optimized, to notice the sensations that you have within yourself, one person part at a time, it makes the process of you tuning in feel safer and it eliminates the overwhelm. It's just a much better match for busy brains. You get to build at your pace. The pace, you, the perfectionist, you set the pace. I go at your pace. I can go as fast as you want, or we can go super slow. And just so you know, by the way, the first person part that we start on is our fingers and hands. It took me 4 months. I spent 4 effing months on my fingers and hands before I got it. And then I had this profound breakthrough. I have on my gallery wall, like a sketched image that I got from an artist of like these 2 hands, because it was such a powerful breakthrough for me. Even now, it gives me chills when I think about it. And I've yet to have any clients that spend 4 months on hands. And if it did, it's okay. We stay here as long as we need to until the truth surfaces. That's what we do. It's not about a certain pace or hitting certain markers. It's about, here's where we are. All we have is today. Let's just be here. Are you willing to be here with me? Okay. And if you're not, that's okay too. And let's talk about that. It's good either way. It's safer. And over time, you begin to notice how your person feels as a whole. When you notice how your whole person feels, you will have what precious few in this world have. And that is pure presence and power that nothing in this world can take away from you. That is the biggest prize and the greatest asset that I offer my clients. That's how you go from judging to discerning, from pressure to presence, from rumination to reflection. You wake up knowing that like your worth is not up for debate. You're not on the stock exchange. That's not it. It's just like you're gold, baby. You're gold. You're a diamond. You don't need to try. You don't need to prove or earn it with your parenting or your achievements. Do you see that? The difference between need? It's way different to want to. It's way different to want to be an awesome parent just because it's fun. And you're like, I just really want to learn how to enjoy parenting. You just make it this thing that you want to solve. Like, I wonder how I can be an even more awesome parent today. Or, I wonder how I can get my boss's job. Like it comes from such a different place. Can you feel it in like the tone of my voice? Like, I wonder if I can nail winged eyeliner. Do you know what I mean? Not like, oh my God, I need to put on my face. And on the days where it doesn't come quite that easily, because hello, still a human, still a perfectionist, when we work together, you know exactly how to deliberately choose power and presence. Like it's always a choice for you. You can choose not to, but you know that you always have that choice. You stand tall, you take up space, even if it might mean you, in air quotes, lose people. You never lose. No one's ever lost. You say yes when you mean it, and you say no when you mean no. You're able to actively recognize what's your responsibility and what isn't. You choose you and your truth each and every day, even when everyone else thinks you're Looney Tunes. You're just like, this is my truth. This is what I'm going with, and I'm going to keep showing up with it. P.S. When you keep choosing your truth, because remember, we unconsciously communicate with each other, eventually other people will then be believing it too. The choice is always yours, control or power. Straight up right now, part of you already believes that you are whole and that you are worthy and that you want to upgrade from control to power, or you wouldn't be listening to this right now. Like you're here because you want to upgrade from controlling everything all the time to being powerfully in charge and present. I'm here to get you to live epically as a perfectionist. My framework is the EPIC framework. Get it? Live epically, embodied, presence, interoceptive, connection, EPIC framework. You can't unlearn what I teach you and what we uncover here. These tools are with you for life. They are generational skills you get to pass down to everyone that you love. So if I have read you like a menu in this episode, you belong in Perfectionism Leveraged. Go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/contact now. Remember, that's what power does. Control, I'll do it when. Power is like now. go there now, send me a message. And together you will be learning self-regulation as a perfectionist, which is just huge in itself, instead of controlling everything all the time.